Hey there everyone, Chris McLean here, Peak Performance and Transformation Coach. I want to drop in with a quick discussion around an often maybe mired topic or phrase, which is this idea of doing more with less. People against this topic will tell you that there is no such thing as doing more with less, that you end up just doing less with less and more with more. But that tends to be in an organizational, institutional setting where you're talking about doing more with less. It's about, I'm going to give you less money and go do more with it. I'm going to give you less resources, but you still need to achieve your KPIs and your output. That's not the context that I want to talk about this in. I'm talking about this in a solopreneur, entrepreneur, business owner, agency founder, proper business perspective, where doing more with less is more about productivity, right? It's about increasing your accomplishment. It's about getting more done, increasing your output while reducing your input, reducing your activity. So accomplishing more and being less active, right? Having less input of whatever that is, whatever your input is. Generally, input is considered time, right? So getting more work done in less time. But we can also think about this as getting more work done in the same amount of time as our steady state peers if we're capable of increasing our leverage within the same amount of time. If we can be more productive, right? If we can increase our accomplishment within the restraints of an hour and get more bang per buck per hour, more output per hour from our performance, that's how we can accelerate beyond steady state peer. And we're kind of relinquishing the control of time and trying to manage time, which is actually a pretty fickle and pretty horrendous thing to actually try and manage because it's fixed, right? Time it's relatively arbitrary and it's fixed. And we suggest that things sort of should take so much time to get done. And this sort of comes back to what's known as Parkinsons Law, which is the idea that a task will basically expand to fill the time allocated to it. So a task will fill an hour, and that same task could fill a day or a week if that is the allocation for that time. And the reason that that happens is distraction, right? Interruption, lack of focus, procrastination, all of the stuff that gets in the way of us actually being effective and efficient within that barrier of, let's call it an hour, or within the framework of a task. If we've got a task to do and we've allocated arbitrarily 7 hours to getting this task done, that's how long it's going to take us to get it done generally, right? As a general rule of thumb, the time we allocate to do something is the time it takes us to do. So do more with less, attribute that same task to an hour. So suddenly you're 700% more effective. You've just 7x'd your performance by literally just reducing the constraint, by choosing a different arbitrary attribution of time. So something that you assumed would take 7 hours, you just say, can I do it in an hour? If you can do that, you've just automatically done more with less, right? You've leveraged your resources within the same constraint of an hour or of a task. So you're no longer stuck trying to leverage time. So we really want to move away when we're thinking about, or for me personally, when I think about doing more with less, we really want to get away from trying to manage time, right? We want to manage our resources. We actually want to become more resourceful. That can be a way to think about this as well. If you're asked to do more with less, how can you be more resourceful? What other resources can you really leverage and really crank that lever of being able to leverage something that's going to give you an expanded output that's not going to be time. It's really hard to leverage time because it's fixed and, like I said, somewhat arbitrary, but it's a fixed resource. We all have the same 24 hours in a day, yet peak performers, top elite performers, get more done in that same time. They build SpaceX, they build NASA, right? They build the X Prize, they build Apple, They build massive companies. And in that same time, a janitor builds a really good janitorial business that earns 5 figures, that maybe does 6 figures, versus the 9-10 figure X Prize, SpaceX, Tesla. Same 24 hours, different leverage, right? So one of them's doing more with less, or the other's doing less with the same. That could be a way to think about it. So this idea of doing more with less really is a cornerstone principle of peak performance. This is what peak performance comes down to, is how much can you output given the same input as your steady state peers. So you, as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, how much can you get done with the minimal effort? Tim Ferriss talks about this idea a lot of minimum effective dose. What is the minimum amount of effort, energy, time, resource, skill that I can put into something to maximize the output? And this is similar to how we think about the circular economy in sustainability, right? A truly circular product is something that minimizes the front end. It minimizes the resources, the raw materials, the manufacturing, the waste production in making the product. It minimizes that and then aims to leverage certain things to maximize the useful life cycle of that material. So you're minimizing on the front end, doing the least possible manufacturing, least possible material input to maximize the output, to create something that can be in its working state for as long as possible. So you're minimizing the front end and maximizing the back end. And again, that's another good way to think about more with less. If you apply that sort of circular frame to it, that circular economy framework of minimizing manufacture and making something that's reusable, right? That can be recaptured at end of life and turned back in to the same product. So that same material has a longer life cycle. That could be a useful frame to think about. Where can you get more resourceful? What resources do you have that you could pull on, rather than when you face the problem of, okay, I've got to do more work. I've got to build a new program. I've got to build out a new client deck. I've got to do this proposal. That's going to take me this much time, this much capacity, this much energy. What other things can you pull on to get that thing done in the same amount of time, rather than just burning more hours? Because we really want to move away from this idea of more work equals burning more time, burning more hours. Because when you burn more hours, guess where you end up? You end up in burnout. And that's not an ideal condition to end up in. When you focus on time and more work equals more time, that's a formula for burnout. A better formula to think about is, let's redefine productivity, right? The productivity formula is, how can we increase output for every unit of input, right? So for every single unit of input, we're maximizing, increasing the amount of output. That essentially is what productivity is. And that is what optimal performance or peak performance or high performance really is getting at. That's where we want to get you to, where you can minimize the amount of effort, the amount of resource, the amount of time, yes, up front, and then maximize the accomplishment, maximize the results on the back end. And in the middle really sits leverage. So what can you leverage? What are your highest leverage activities in your business? This can also come back to, you've probably heard of the Pareto principle, right? 80-20. What are the 20% of activities you could be doing in your business that are going to generate 80% of your result, 80% of your revenue, 80% of your growth, 80% of your customers, rather than focusing on the 80% of busy work, where it feels like you're doing a lot of stuff because you're busy and you're burning time, right? You're filling time. You've got a whole lot of tasks that are filling the arbitrary time of an 8-hour, 10-hour, 12-hour day. You're trying to leverage that. You're very, very busy in that 80% of work, but that 80% of work's only actually generating 20% of results. Whereas if you buckled down, doubled down, quadrupled down on the 20% of tasks, maybe there's 2 or 3 things you could be doing that are going to generate the maximum result, or at least get you most of the way there, right? It's going to get you 80% of the result. And if you can do 20% of the work in a couple hours and get 80% of the result, then you can use the rest of your day to work on that 80% to get that extra 20% of the benefit. But you really want to switch your attention, switch your focus to getting more done with less effort, with less input, minimizing, capping, arbitrarily capping at less the input, the time, right? The effort, the energy required to do something, and then cranking on leverage to create a bigger output, a bigger outcome, more results, more customers, more money in your business, whatever that is, whatever that result is, more work, right? Being more effective, being more efficient, turning an 8-hour day where you get some stuff done to cranking 4 hours of super effective work and getting 80% of your business growth done, and then having the rest of your day to do the busy work, to do meetings, to do the stuff that's not that important. So you want to identify what your highest leverage activities are. So you need to know what you actually should be working on, right? What are your highest leverage activities in your business? What's your 20%? Where are 80%? Where are most of your results in your business coming from? Those 20% activities, if you could do those every single day without fail, you would grow your business. It's a pretty simple correlation. If you did the things in your business every day that generated most of your business revenue, you'd grow your business, right? It's pretty basic maths. The problem is most of us get trapped in the 80%, right? We get trapped in the 80% of busy work, of feeling like we're crushing it and smashing it because we're busy, we're hustling, right? We're posting to social media, we're attending network events, we're doing masterminds, we're running webinars, we're FaceTiming, we're doing courses, we're doing masterclasses, we're doing all of this stuff, but none of it's actually generating significant results in our business. So a good place to look at your highest leverage task is to look at your results. Look at your last 12 months. Look at your last couple of years of result of clients. Where did most of your clients come from? What activities were you doing that generated the interest or sparked that client acquisition? Do more of that, right? Focus on that and get that done. Allocate time to get that stuff done every day in your business. And that's how you start to do more with less, right? Less time, saying no to the busy work, saying no to the majority of stuff you could be doing, and saying yes to a hyper-focused, very specific, small amount of yes. 20%, 10%, 3 activities, right? These are the 2 or 3 activities or tasks that I'm going to do every single day in my business, because I know that if I get them done, my business is moving forward. And then whatever else I do in my day maybe chases down that long tail, that 20%, right? So I'll get some marginal benefits, some marginal increases, and it'll buy me some time to do the busy work. It'll give me some time to work on the reactive stuff that's necessary but not important. So this is what you want to do in your business, to do more with less. You want to spend less time, less resource, less activity on the most important things in your business, and achieve more, increase your accomplishment. So minimize what you're doing and drive more results, more accomplishment on the back end. That is the essentials of doing more with less. So I hope that's been useful. I hope that's given you some insights into the different ways you can think about doing more with less. How to get more bang for your buck is a good colloquial term. And really it's a strategic approach to prioritization. Right? What are you going to prioritize in your business? What should you prioritize and what should you be saying no to? So there's also an exercise in elimination, in reduction, in getting rid of the busy stuff, saying no to the 80% and saying a really hard yes to the 2 or 3 tasks that you need to be doing every day in your business that are generating most of your results. So let me know, run that experiment. Let me know what your highest leverage tasks are. I'd love to hear from you. Hope this has been useful. I'll catch you guys soon on another video. Cheers.